The ones that I like the most are that particular part of the system. We haven't seen any problems with anything at all. So that might be a flaw later on that is going to bite in the tail. I can't imagine why I would ever think of doing that. I can tell you, I would never do that, never.
So, good evening, folks. My second chance of talking to Sandy Munro.
Yeah.
Thank you for this sort of exclusive interview at the last opportunity. So, Sandy, I just met the same people that you talked today, the EV clinics, the Vanya from Croatia.
So Sandy was here half an hour ago.
Yes.
And I was presenting him this solution.
And we discussed what they are doing, and as you have seen, they had a module from the Tesla
Model S Plaid.
Yes, and then, but they also had like a parts from the heat pump, and I think they had that's the cooling liquid pump, right? That's
Yes, and that's attached to the octo valve.
yes, and then so Vanya says that the cooling liquid pump, or along with the entire cooling system, the heat HVAC, needs a maintenance, which I was surprised to hear. And it says that Tesla has only a maintenance warranty for 80,000 kilometers on this part, and he recommends every 40,000 kilometers to ask Tesla, via the service connection, to can you please make maintenance of the HVAC system, because he claims that because of course a normal use of the heat pump, this spinning impeller, right, of the spiral, of course gets some friction around this aluminum housing, and then the particles of course go into the liquid, and he says that maintenance is actually required, which I was surprised to hear. Do you have any?
I don't know about any maintenance that's required on that pump. And as far as particles and whatnot, there shouldn't be any particles on there, because if you look at it, that's a fully machined serpentine. So there's not much in the way, as far as I'm concerned, not much a way that there's going to be degradation. The only time that you'd get that is if you had cavitation, so you get bubbles.
Yeah.
If bubbles get in, then that's a whole different ball game. But for the most part, 80,000 kilometers shouldn't be. I know people that, in fact, we have two Teslas that have 180,000 miles, which is quite a bit bigger.
1.6 times the kilometers.
Yeah, you're right. So, and there's no problems with anything, zero. Nothing. We've done zero. The only thing they changed was brake pads, that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah,
so I don't know about that. I only know that I only know what I know, and that particular part of the system, we haven't seen any problems with anything at all, zero.
The second question, thank you for that. Then I was watching a video recent from the Paul Turnbull, the Munro Life engineer, and there was a teardown and a good explanation of the electric motor of BYD, the one which is like most commonly used in every BYD which they can fit it. And he said that the motor was excellent, like with a few specific design features which are only available to be implemented in China, but also with one significant flaw.
So that's all very good. They've made there's one thing that where they've broken a cardinal rule.
So what they said, that in China they have much more access to the really heavy rare earth magnets.
They own all the
so
neodymium.
They're implementing that in a rotor, and therefore those can withstand much more heat.
Yes.
And the heating system is just like water cooled.
Yes.
And a part of this, along with other things, Paul Turnbull said it's excellent motor, but there was one significant flaw. So I believe on a stator where the woundings wire goes in and out, then somehow they used the same connection point for the electrical, and so they connected something electrical to the mechanical part. So this is like a fundamentally wrong. You cannot use a connection which is used just for electrical purposes, as well as to use that as some kind of mechanical mounting anchor point or something like that.
I don't know what that means. I'm familiar with the BYD motors, and they they get all the premium neodymium. That's where it comes from, and dysprosium and neodymium are the two things that you need for for high-powered magnets. As far as I think what you're talking about is the connectors for the input connectors for the high voltage.
Yes.
Happens here is when we run current through this, we run hundreds of amps through this. And the cardinal rule, the general engineering rule of thumb is you do not want your electrical connection to be the same thing that carries the mechanical support.
So I would have to see the drawings that he's talking about, but at the end of the day, I haven't heard anything back on any failures associated with the connecting points, and I don't believe that if I can't imagine why anybody would use that as part of the hold down mechanism. It's not the right kind of. It'd be the wrong kind of materials to use it for anything mechanical. It's there for an electric a reason for electricity. It's not. There's no reason to make it mechanical as well. I can tell you, I would never do that. Never.
Yeah,
not in a million years.
That's what Paul told exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all very good. They've made there's one thing where they've broken a cardinal rule, and sometimes you have to break the rules to get the kinds of cost savings that you're looking for. In this case, I think that it's not going to work out well for them. These connections here, they're using these flex leads here. There's a stranded cable where the ends are welded onto these two terminals. That allows them the tolerance stack up, because this ends up moving somewhat, and you can't be guaranteed between the location of this and the location of the inverter connections that everything will be exactly where it's supposed to be. And so a little flexibility is great, helps for manufacturing and assembly, but you have to support both ends. This end is supported at the inverter in a plastic block that holds everything tight. But this end is free to move. It's only supported by the wires from the stator, and it's this weld here, the same welds that we're using to conduct the electricity into the winding. And the cardinal rule, the general engineering rule of thumb is you do not want your electrical connection to be the same thing that carries the mechanical support. So you want to have the mechanical support carried by a mechanical part and the electrical connection being free from mechanical stress. So what happens here is when we run current through this, we run hundreds of amps through this heats up and this heats up. And when it heats up, the copper expands. And when the copper expands, it pushes down on this. And then this also, the copper expands. And so these three push up. So this is up and this is down, and it flexes that joint. And then you turn it off and it cools back off and it flexes the other way. And so over time, it flexes back and forth every time you turn the motor on and off. In addition to that, just the weight of this, as you vibrate this, as you go over the road and every bump in the road, you get a little vibration, and that's also putting stress on that joint. And then there's further vibration. The action of the rotor spinning around is moving these wires. The magnetic fields are so strong that it actually distorts this housing and produces a high frequency vibration that again moves this joint. So between all of those forces, this joint ends up seeing quite a lot of vibration. And unfortunately, copper, the kind of copper you want for great conductivity to produce low loss motors, is not a very good material for structural support. And over time, fatigue sets in and little cracks will turn into big cracks, and this will saw itself right in half. So that's an issue. I'm sure that they did the FEA and they've done some testing to make sure that it meets the requirements. The only trouble is that these weld joints are notoriously variable. All it takes is someone to to go a little bit long on the maintenance schedule of the welder, and suddenly you've got a joint that's not quite the same as the joint that they tested. And now you've got one that isn't going to last as well as the one you tested. And you end up with problems in the field, and it's trouble. The way to fix that is you can put a plastic part underneath this, just a little bit of support underneath this to dampen those vibrations. And then that completely eliminates the issue. So the mechanical load is handled by the little plastic part and supported. No one likes adding an extra part. And at Munro, we always advise to eliminate any part that's unnecessary. But don't go too far. And if you need to have a part to perform a function, which means, in this case, providing the mechanical support to protect that electrical joint, then you need to add the part. And so, a plastic part, kind of like they did up here with this side, another plastic part down here to support on this side of the joint would be beneficial.
Yeah.
That's what he exactly told. That.
Yeah. I can't imagine why I would ever think of doing that. So that might be a flaw later on that is going to bite BYD in the tail.
He was also talking that because, of course, the car is on the road and there are all sorts of vibration and motion, and that mechanical part, because
it flexes.
It does the dual action of being the part where the high voltage is connected, and it's mechanical, and that's of course moving and vibrating. That's the problem which can occur.
I can't imagine. I never saw that, but I can't imagine that as being something that I would ever design to ever. Never. Never.
Yes.
I just don't do that.
So apart of Tesla, what is the other brand you can recommend for the mass market to be durable in terms of the less maintenance possible, and maybe not necessarily the best speed and performance, but just reliability and less maintenance and long-term longevity, let's say?
Well, you've got a lot to choose from here in Europe, and Chinese cars are not being blocked. So the ones that I like the most are Geely's products. So that would be Volvo. Volvo is owned by Geely. So they make very good products. I don't remember what the long-term mileage is on some of these deals, but at the end of the day, there's quite a few that you've got to choose from. If I was going to pick one, I probably wouldn't worry too much about the motors or the batteries or what have you. I'd probably pick one based on the look. If you like the styling, it's probably going to be fine for you.
And generally they will be all the same, equally reliable,
they're
durable.
pretty much, yeah, because there's very, very little that can go wrong with an electric
So
car.
it's like Geely, Volvo, Polestar, Zeekr.
Zeekr is a very beautiful car. I
Yeah.
love that car. Yeah, and so these are most of the high-priced vehicles that are out there are going to be a rock solid goodbye from China. If we look at European cars, I really like BMW. Can't think of anybody else right off the top of my head. Anything though from BMW, they stand behind it and they make good quality powertrains. So yeah, I would pick that if it was me. But it's going to be very difficult to beat China.
I think Smart now is also owned by, used to be by Volvo, now it's by Geely.
Geely owns all those.
Yeah. Last two questions. So I don't
Okay.
get much views from the female audience.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Less than 1%.
So, but however, my wife is driving our Tesla now,
yeah.
and then she likes it, and we jumped into the rental Skoda, and she is like, "Oh, the one pedal driving is not there. When
Yeah.
you go back up, when you reverse, there is no one pedal driving at
Yeah,
all.
Exactly.
And then you have this little like a weird teeny thing for the gear selector, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh my god, she's always like extra worried. What's the experience with like women in your community? Like your wife drives Tesla,
Yes.
then you had the Rivian, then you had the Cybertruck. What's the general impression of?
My wife won't drive anything else anymore. She only drives Tesla. She won't drive anything. She's got my F-150 truck because she's got to pick up some dirt for her garden and whatnot. But apart from that, that's it. But women do not watch Munro live. It's less than 1%. Women don't care about that stuff. They don't. We had no readership. So if you wanted to gather up women, you have to be a woman. So you get your wife to do the videoing and stuff like that.
Last question. So I introduced myself briefly to you, and you said you would love to turn the time around and become a seafarer, let's say.
Yeah,
Your
long
dream
time
to-
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also told you that I have changed so many employers in Norway over the
Yeah.
short period of time, probably as well as you. And then what can you advise me? Shall I just remain myself
Yes.
and not look on whatever
No.
noises?
Never mind. Just take care of yourself. I'm a big fan of being the boss, any owner, and responsible for everything. So that's my advice to you. Do the same thing. Just keep your own company and
I don't
and
have, I
be
don't, I
happy.
don't, I don't have it yet, but it's probably
Wow.
the things are going that way. If nobody likes me,
at the end of the day,
way
it doesn't matter whether anybody likes you. It doesn't matter. All you got to do is make sure that you make enough money so that you can pay your bills and you'll be happy. Some people just don't work well in somebody else's company. So keep your own company. Work for me. I'm sure it'll work for you. Yeah. So anyways.
fantastic, Sandy.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
a great
great
honor.
stuff. Yep.
A pure luck to bump into you the first day, straight into you, and then
Well, there you go. Okay, so I got to get with these guys over here,
Yes.
and then I got to go to another party. Hi, how are you?
and then.